should be an area as big as that unexplored.
It's a tremendous.
So there's a little adventure left down at the bottom of the well.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
And Admiral, would you say that
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has...
Stone's Clone.
Yes. How are you?
So Steve's joining us again. Thanks for coming, Steve. We appreciate
My pleasure.
it. I know you get excited.
Waited all week.
Yeah.
Yes. I was very excited.
Uh-oh.
Best show in town.
Oh, yeah. That's not good. Hold on.
Hey, this is the only way that you know that we're live.
Yeah,
There's
it's good.
been something. There's
Cool. We're on
technical
TV.
technician.
Yeah,
We're on
now.
TV. Hey, Mom, we made it on TV. You know, we are live, filthy. So don't forget to give us a like, give us a follow. That's all we ask this evening is for you guys to give us a like.
He's
give
got
us
to turn us down.
That didn't work.
So it
That
doesn't
was
charge
great.
anything. Just make sure to give us a share, give us a like, share it. You know, put us out there. We are here to do what we do best, is put out the truth. And that's what we're here for.
That's right. So we speak our truth. So we're going to talk about, obviously, we're going to get into a little 9/11 also. That was another topic where it is 9/11 today. So we do remember, the people that were fallen on 9/11 and what happened to them, and and the conspiracies behind that, which are probably conspiracy truths now because we kind of know what was going on and what happened on 9/11. But we never discussed anything about anything else besides 9/11, the buildings, the towers. A lot of times people don't talk about the Pentagon, right? So we'll get a little bit into the Pentagon, Rich, a little bit.
Well, last time I was here, we did, the towers and what happened there and blah, blah, blah. But the Pentagon, see, whatever hit the, building, after the crash, there was stuff scattered, supposedly from the plane, but the FBI was there very fast, very quick, and they were picking up the pieces of whatever that was and putting in bags, and they left. And there wasn't much there. And when you have a crash, a big jumbo jet especially, you're going to have pieces, big clunks of pieces everywhere.
Yeah.
When planes, crash or blow up, or even the space shuttle and so on, they put them back together.
Yeah.
And, they investigate what's happened, and this and that. And, you could find a big chunks of anybody's crashes.
Yeah.
There was nothing there.
No.
And they just picked up those little pieces, and the FBI was on it, and they were gone before you. So that's a crime scene, just like I told you about a month ago with the crime scene at 9/11.
Yeah.
This is the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
And there's no luggage, no bodies, no this. The only explanation they come up, well, it disintegrated. The speed of the plane, and it must have disintegrated.
Yeah.
And that's what they come up with.
Right.
And there was only one little picture of a little part of a tail that said United.
Yeah.
And it didn't match any size tail wing of any jumbo jet. It's like, they go from
My
10
biggest
feet,
thing was,
20 feet high.
my thing about the Pentagon is that there was no footage. Like there's no
Just the one.
there's all it's the most biggest compound. It's got cameras everywhere, but there was no footage of anything flying
Nothing.
into it.
Nothing but that one little footage
that they gave you.
And then there's also gas stations and mini marts that had cameras that saw something too.
Yeah.
But they and hotels, and right away the FBI
they
recovered
took them all.
everything that would show
Yeah.
that was not a jumbo jet. And anything else, there was a camera that had nothing but an explosion.
Yeah.
So they let you look at that. Then they show you the Pentagon footage. And if you look tight, it looks like it's a craft that's no bigger than 20 feet.
Yeah.
And it's white. And they can dress, the military dresses missile type planes that they can make look like a plane, but it's not. It's nothing but a guided missile.
Steve, what is your take on it? Have you looked deep into the Pentagon and all that? Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
The Pentagon, especially. There's
Yeah.
no footage
Yeah.
of any kind of plane.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's literally no footage of any kind of plane
No.
besides the
No.
two
Not for the
two
Pentagon,
videos
right?
that they show us?
Yeah.
That is it.
Just nothing but quick explosion.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
there's no
it.
plane
But I mean, come on.
there's no plane wreckage. There's
How are
no
you gonna tell
street
me
lights
there's-
knocked down. There's no cars.
Street lights. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How are you going to tell
And
me
that's
there's
a hard
not-
shot to
there's
get
no
that
video.
low with a big jet.
It's
Yeah.
a very hard shot.
Right, that's-
What were you saying again?
When we go flying,
Yeah.
we tried it a couple.
Right. Move the mic down a little bit. Just a little.
No,
Yeah. Just
The
a very
plane
light.
had to
Perfect.
hover
Yeah, there you
60
go.
feet off the ground for a long period of time
Yeah.
Right.
to hit it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an impossible maneuver by plane.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, people, and none of the bodies, and all they could find is a 16-foot diameter hole that went through, most of the the blocks of those buildings, or
Yeah.
sections of them.
Yeah.
That's all they ever got.
Right.
They just tell you, it must have disintegrated with the speed.
Just disintegrated.
Well,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
like Flight 93 too. We can get into that, but I mean that's all. And the basic part is you put chunks of planes back together.
Yeah.
And they could have easily done that.
They didn't.
And
do
there's
it.
no there's no luggage. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And there's reports of it right away when it happened. Even got reporters that were there just trying to report, saying it doesn't look like they cited a plane crash of any sort. Even if Fox did it then.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's because you got to go to the source of how it happened that day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
hear people say they heard explosions
Yeah.
at the Twin Towers and so on. And they get repressed. And as time goes on, you look back and you go, well, what? Wait a minute. This just doesn't look like a plane crash. And you remember they said that the 1 point whatever billion or trillion that was missing from the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Well, that plane
That was the spot
that
where they
was the
did
spot
it.
where
Yeah,
they hit
where
it.
they hit it, so they could knock out all the evidence that the money was missing. Yeah.
Yes, I mean it's just very strange,
Yeah.
especially when Donald Rumsfeld talked about it the day
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know,
Yeah.
that's happened. 9/11, then they go to war with Afghanistan, and not a month later,
Yep.
and there you go. I mean, I'm just
There you go.
So-
There you go.
Well, I mean,
there you go.
you
That's
can-
it.
Hey, there you go.
make your own decisions of it.
Yeah.
That crash is just it's not a plane crash. Now,
No.
what happened to the real passengers there? That
That's the
were
biggest,
eliminated.
I think that's the biggest question that really always irks me and it brings up all the time is like, what happened to these passengers that were supposed to be on these planes?
Sure.
Like there was supposed to be a plane that landed that crashed into the Pentagon. Where are those people at? Like
they would have to be
died in the
eliminated.
Pentagon? Like there was no bodies. So where were they? Where'd they go?
Had to fly somewhere and be eliminated.
Yeah.
Barbara Olson was the only important person on that plane.
Yeah.
Her husband was a prominent politician, and she was supposed to be one of them on there. But, I mean, for that to happen, to replace the plane with a
Yeah.
missile type plane, they had to have landed somewhere and been eliminated.
Same with the ones
And
that
then
landed in Pennsylvania. Like that was another one disintegrated.
Yeah, that's
so
another one.
where do those people go?
Well, 93, either it was shot down
Yeah.
or it was, replaced.
Yeah.
And then,
they just made a little
a crash
site
Yeah.
with nothing there.
There's a possibility that it was shot down by, Dick Cheney on his orders.
Yeah.
Because that would have been shot, and then that would have been blown up in the sky and burnt,
Yeah.
and then by the time it did hit, you would have nothing but scattered pieces,
disintegrated,
and that could have disintegrated because it's shot by a missile in the air.
All right.
Time to just you burn up.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, we can get into that, but I mean, I'm focusing on the Pentagon too because it's just you can see a bunch of FBI guys just in a circle picking up pieces, little chunks of pieces. That's it. Enough to where they get it.
They just had enough.
Like they knew exactly what to pick up.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as this stuff happened, they knew they were addressed. As soon as this happens, we need you guys to go
pick up this evidence. The plane. Pick it
and
up.
You say what were they picking up?
Pieces of not the plane, but the missile that was disguised as a plane. Not I mean, I'm talking just not a regular missile, a missile type looking plane that was also painted to look like a United plane or TWA. Excuse me, that's TWA.
Huh.
It's only probably it was 16 feet long, almost like a small Learjet.
Right.
Where the real plane was a jumbo jet.
Yeah.
There'd be pieces. I mean,
Everywhere. It looks everywhere. Chunks everywhere. Yeah.
That planes like that. When crashes, you always see the tail. You always see wings. You see pieces. And no one saw any mangled bodies, or luggage.
No.
Nothing.
Yep.
Just nothing.
All by design.
Well, they had to take. If you did put those pieces together, it would have shown. Well, this thing's a little crap.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Of course, that's why they disposed of it.
Yeah.
Just like they disposed of steel at Ground Zero. All the steel that was sent to China. It's a crime scene.
What do you like? What do you think, Leo? Like, what is your take on all this? Like, what do you think's really going on behind the scenes with all these false flags and these terrorist events? We'll get into Charlie Kirk next about what that was all about as well.
Like, I don't know. To me, it's all just you did this to me, so I'm gonna do this to you. It's just to see which country is bigger and better. Yeah. But at the end, they're all united. They're all one. Yeah. Like it's like us, like. Each one of us own our own country, and we're all in it. Okay, this year or these 4 years, okay, it's going to be all dedicated just for you, John. Yeah. Okay, let's all have beef. Let's all have, get together and see what we could do, But they're all in it together, Putin, Trump, all of them, Bushes, everybody. To me, they're all in it.
You think Trump's in it? Yeah, you think he's
I don't think he's in it. I think he's the one that is unraveling everything. It's like
he's unraveling for sure.
Right. It's like the P. Diddy thing. What was that one comedian that stayed behind and then said, "Hey, I was there at the parties. I just didn't associate with everything that was going on. I have receipts of everything that was going on."
Yeah.
And that's Trump. He has receipts of all these people. And now that he's putting all this stuff out there, all of a sudden, hey. You're not my friend anymore because you put this out there. What do you mean? I mean, you did it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling the people the truth. What you were doing, I was there. I'm not saying I wasn't. I was there. Yeah. It's the same thing that's going on with the Epstein Island. Yeah. That's why he's like, when is this going to get over with? Yeah. Yes, I was there, but that doesn't mean I was associated with what was going I mean, same shit that's going on.
There's people that were there but did nothing.
Right.
Like that. They were there and they saw stuff they didn't like either. Yeah. They're like, this is fucked up. Yeah. Either Epstein Island or P. Diddy parties. Yeah.
Something.
They're like,
that's why Trump, and that's why Trump says about he was in part of the special club at one time, and he saw what they were about. He just never was. They never trapped him in a corner where he was picked out to where they were like, "Oh, we got you," because they tried to get him, they tried to trap him, but he knew that they were evil. He knows that they're sick, and so he tells you that all the time. These people are sick. These people are sick. He tells you exactly what's going on. You just have to read between the lines.
For sure. And the people don't like that.
They don't like that because they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear truth.
Right. So what did they?
So there we go. Yep. So what are we seeing now?
Right. What did they try to do to Trump?
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
They tried to what? They tried to take him out. Exactly.
So now for what? Speaking his truth.
Exactly.
Relieve putting stuff out there that people don't want to know. Well, they want to know, but they don't want to hear about it. And then it's just for them, it's the wrong people delivering the message. Because what if it was Obama delivering the message?
Yeah.
Just in different wording, different
open change.
It would have been a whole different story. I'm just saying. I mean, it all really depends on who's up there, who delivers the message, how the message is delivered.
And then we get into the elephant in the room, and that's Charlie Kirk. So we're talking about that. Exactly. We're talking about they tried to take Trump out. Now we get into the fact that somebody has actually lost their lives
For
over
sure.
this now. So where do we go from here when it comes to the Charlie Kirk situation and being a witness to some horrific situation that is traumatizing to people? So now you're traumatizing the planet. So now what do we do? So what comes next? So I'm going to go to Steve on that one, because that was part of his list. So I want to hear what he has to say about this.
I am shocked that, well, I guess I'm not shocked anymore from the news. I mean, already I'm seeing things that Charlie Kirk isn't dead. You know, there's a discrepancy in a ring, for instance.
Yeah.
The same thing with Trump's ear, you know.
Yeah.
That it was a staged event.
Yeah.
I mean, already it's not even 5 hours ago it happened.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's on Facebook. It's as easy to find as turning on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we have to figure out whether it's a stage situation with Trump or whatever, or what's going on. We have to figure out why it's going on and what's going to come and what's going to come of it. Like, what is going to come out of this? Is it
what's being hidden?
Exactly. What's being hidden? Exactly. So what's going to come out behind this on who did this? If it happened, it happened. We've seen it. Who did it? We want to know.
They already have suspects.
Yeah.
You know? Israel is a suspect already.
Yeah, well, of course, because we've already dealt with that kind of stuff with 9/11 and things of that nature. And Charlie was speaking out a lot about Israel, and he was starting to wake up to things. I mean, I know he did get confronted at a event at one of the colleges where a guy confronted him about 9/11 and about Building 7. And Charlie wasn't having it about the whole dancing Israelis and all that. He was like, no. He was kind of backtracking.
Okay.
And then I think he started to look into it and started to see, like, wait a minute, like, I was just fooled by this kid, and now this kid's telling me something that I don't believe really happened, that was an inside job, and that it might have been the Israelis and Saudis. And so he started to question himself, because of course he has discernment of God.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So of course he's going to use his discernment and say, well, wait a minute. I mean, if this Building 7 and the Israeli dancing and all these things, this doesn't add up. So maybe he pushed the line, because you don't get that popular that quick without some kind of you giving yourself up to something. I mean, having a company that large and being around for that long and being such a young person, he might have crossed the line with some of the powers to be, that they were like, wait a minute, we're not doing this. We got to eliminate his voice.
I don't know. I like what we have going on here, because we all have different perceptions of what's going on.
Yep.
I see it as whoever did it was a victim of some kind of gun violence, or something to do in his family, or something to do with him, something to do with guns, that he wants to come back the same way they came at his family, or whoever came at him with some kind of gun violence.
Well, on the surface, it's about that, because it's about he's been protecting gun rights, and he's had a lot of liberals saying, no, we don't need this and that. Now he gets killed by a gun, and they're loving it on their social media there. Some of it's nasty, and it shows how evil bad they can be, and glad he's dead. And let's see, guns that came back to you.
Sure.
The roosters come home to roost. And
I don't know. I think it's someone solo by himself, doing it by himself. He's just trying to get revenge on what he was speaking about his truth. And it's just hatred.
I know he might have a transgender family member, and people get angry
for sure.
And they just
absolutely,
and they look at him. So I'm look at this guy throughout the years, and I hate this conservative.
No, I was speaking to somebody,
figure.
I agree. I was speaking to somebody the other day, because of clearly we don't know who this person is. So clearly this guy has two lives. We all have two lives. Yeah. If I look at it as we all have two lives, because I know John one way, I know you guys a whole different way. But once we leave here, I don't know you guys. Mm-hmm. You might have a whole different story.
Very true.
I have a whole different story. So I could have been talking to whoever next door or next to me, and this could have happened 12 hours ago, and be like, wait a minute, I was just with this person.
If he was really killed, this guy has some kind of sniper expertise.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
If he was killed that way,
for sure.
I mean, we don't know this person.
No, we don't.
This was a very public affair.
For sure.
There was probably a lot of cameras going. A lot.
Oh yeah. And there wasn't that. You don't get that many angles.
So we got to. How could you not get many angles? You got to get all kinds of angles.
I know, but I've only seen two.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right. So what if it was staged?
Yeah.
Who would stage it? Why
Right.
would they stage it?
Right.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Who would stage it? Why would they stage it? Obviously, Charlie.
So-
if it's staged, Charlie Kirk's in on it.
So another thing, now that you
Yes.
said who could have staged it, you're right. Maybe he himself staged it.
Correct.
Killed his,
He would have to be in on it. Yeah.
he would have to be in it,
Yeah, but he's got to fake his death and stay away for the rest of his life. Unless,
Hit on it.
That's the only
Right.
way. That's the only way he could be able to feel like. Because look at this. As soon as someone is dead, someone passes, that's when they become famous, even more
Yes.
than what they were already.
So they
celebrities
made him,
especially.
Celebrities especially.
Ah.
So look at this. Now all of a sudden,
Huh.
31-year-old.
Well, he's the ultimate martyr right now.
Yeah.
Big time. Right now, he's
Yeah.
going to be the ultimate martyr. It's all to divide.
We don't know.
That's all.
We don't.
It's all division,
For sure.
and then that's what the people that run the world want, so they can drop the hammer then to show how much unrest we have between each other, civil unrest. It becomes almost a civil war.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, we got to step in.
Right.
Problem or action solution.
Yep.
We're going to do this now because Americans are not getting along." And I just think it's too much division. Nobody can seem to get along on both sides because of their issue.
I feel like that Luigi Mangione is the one who opened the big, can of worms of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, and he killed someone. Now this guy, Mangione claims that this guy fucked over his family with his dad, I think it was, and the medical field. And his medical field is dirty.
Yeah.
He took matters into his own hands, but this guy still was a human being that had a family, and he shot him in cold blood. And people, that's how they react. Sometimes it's anger. Everything's ridiculous
It is.
nowadays. People fight over baseball.
Yeah.
Pokemon card.
All that. And it gets on the
Oh,
news
yeah,
and it
for
distracts
sure.
people from what other things are going on that are behind the scenes, and then
For
people
sure.
forget about it. And no, it's unfortunate if he really was killed.
Yeah.
And the way he was shot, and people, saw, split open.
Well, I always say
We weren't there,
it's to bring us down in a frequency of low vibration. It's trauma. It's the trauma-based mind control, like my shirt, MK Ultra. It's trauma-based mind control, and it's the oldest trick in the book, divide and conquer, and because it works.
Yes.
But unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, I think that this is a turning point. Not a coincidence that Charlie Kirk's organization is called Turning Point USA. This is a turning point for something to come next, to something bigger that's coming. There's more coming that's going to be thrown at us, and it's going to be a battle for a minute. I mean, we talk about this on the TGI Now podcast about the reign of Satan, and it's coming to an end. The evil has to be eradicated off the planet, and so we're witnessing this trauma, and it all depends on how we react to it. Like you said, problem, reaction, solution.
Sad to think, but it's like now you're just thinking like, who's next?
So we got some comments. Got some comments. We got Vestal Media, Lucian distractions and ways to start war on American soil. We have been in the depths of civil war for quite some time. Yeah, that's the Roman Empire poisoned the wells long before they invaded. That's like with fluoride. Truth in the movies, lies in the news. Yeah, like my They Live sunglasses. Thanks for checking in. Vestal Media, is that what it is? Yeah. On YouTube. All right, appreciate you checking in. Like and subscribe. Give us a share. Let us know what you think. This is something that we're doing where hopefully people all around the country will start doing stuff like this, getting people together to chat and talk about these kind of things.
Well, Rome, as you say, crumbling within, which was part of the problem.
Yeah.
The barbarians were there at the gate waiting. But a lot of, there's also evidence that the Romans just transferred their power to the Eastern Roman Empire, which is in Romania. And they took over, and they had their little time.
The vampires.
Yes, well, that's the Romanians.
Yeah.
That's why they have Latin.
The lizards.
They have Latin in their language because they blended it with the Slavic language.
Right.
Romanian is the fifth Latin language.
Yeah.
But Rome, when they were falling, they transferred their power over to Eastern Rome.
All right.
And then eventually they fell to the Turks.
All right.
And that was it too. Similar situation.
All right.
Years ago.
All right. Well, let's move on to let's see what else we got here. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we're gonna go back to it. I just wanted to, I don't want to harp on it too much because that's what they want us to do is to harp on the loose energy, like our comment had. So we want to work on that. So we talked about Pentagon that. So let's bring in Bruce. You want to come in, Bruce? Have Bruce sit in. I've heard heard notable faces in the movie industry and sets say truth is in the movies, lies in the news. Yeah. Yep. No, it's true. They live. We sleep no more.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you want to jump in? No.
Eddie, you want to jump in real quick, Eddie?
This one's what do you got, Bruce? You got what's it? Renewable
petroleum.
Okay. All right. All right. That's one that I'm not real versed on. So. Renewable petroleum, Eddie. Okay. So we got Eddie coming in here. This is Eddie, my partner in the TGI Now podcast.
Hey, what's up?
He showed up. Glad to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah. We got Richie. We just talked about 9/11. We did the Pentagon. So we did a little bit of that. So that was before you got here. Yeah. So you heard. And then we got Bruce jumping in, Steve's brother, and he's going to bring his topic up and something I'm not really familiar with. So go ahead.
Well, everyone who came here tonight, did anybody here walk or come by horse?
Nope.
Everyone drove in a car.
Yep.
And your car runs on gasoline.
Absolutely. Well, if you have one of them electric things.
Right. Well, anyway, since at least the 1970s, they've been telling us that we're about to run out of gasoline or petroleum. I recall watching cartoon commercials about it in the 1970s where they had the dinosaur's head coming out of the gas tank. And the commercial would say, this animal gave his or her all for your tank of gas. And even at that age, this is like 1974, wow. I thought to myself, gee, how come whenever they dig up dinosaur bones, they don't find oil? And how did that skin turn to oil?
Right.
Well, the truth is, it was a fantasy.
Yeah.
It was nonsense. The other thing is that in my readings over the years, there's an island in the Gulf of Mexico called Eugene Island 404. It's actually a seamount. Anyway, it's an old drilling platform. They stopped drilling like in the 1960s because it ran out of oil.
Right.
But every now and then they've been testing this. This is back in 1990. They've been testing it, and it's been leaking oil. And so my first thought was, well, maybe there was a little bit of residual oil in there. And they said, no, it's actually coming from deep in the earth, which means the earth is generating oil. Because somehow they could do the spectrogram of where the petroleum come from.
Okay.
And in which rocks it's at.
Okay.
So it's not that was in the pipe and it just leaked out over the years because it's been continuously leaking since 1971.
So the fossil fuel thing, just a hoax. Like, exactly. It's limited. There's only so many dinosaurs that died, and so we only have so much fossil fuels in the earth.
Right. And if you think about how much gasoline was consumed just today,
yeah, right.
There probably must have been more dinosaurs than matter in the universe.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Also,
wow.
I believe on either Saturn or one of the other planets or their moons, they did a detection when the satellites went by, and they detected hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons means water and carbon. That's the same thing that we have here on this planet. So are we supposed to expect that dinosaurs flew out to Saturn to die,
right,
and become hydrocarbons?
Yeah.
Or do planets actually generate it? And I think planets generate deep in the mantle.
Yeah.
Because all hydrocarbon is hydrogen, which is water, and carbon, which is soot.
Yeah.
Mix them together, you get sludge. Take that sludge and refine it, you have oil.
Wow.
Which means that oil is not running out. It's a natural regenerating thing, but it takes thousands of years, if not millions of years, for those oil wells to fill up. The oil fields in Indonesia, which is what Japan invaded actually things for, by the 1950s they were dry. Yeah. Supposedly dry. They're filling up now. And the Indonesians are selling oil, and Shell Oil is still drilling in Indonesia. Yeah, well, I guess they didn't go dry after all. Yeah.
That's a good topic for the PJ. We never talked about this stuff before. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I've always thought about that. The fossil fuel thing was a hoax. They made it up to call it fossil fuels for that reason. So it was limited scarcity. Because that's part of keeping you low frequency and low vibration scarcity.
Originally, petroleum was called rock oil because it was discovered in rock.
Hey, what's up?
With no bones, dinosaur bones around it.
Yeah. Huh. Wow.
Well, they used to scare people in the 70s with, there's no gas, and they had long lines. Remember the long lines? I can even remember in '79, people were lined up because it's like, we're short, on gas, and it only lasted until then.
Yeah.
It never was like that again.
No.
They act like it was going to be that way soon from that point.
Sure. All right. I'm just making sure. I want to get Nick over here too. Yeah, see if you can get Nick over here real quick. So, you got any questions, Eddie, on that one?
No.
No?
I'm kind of good. Never really thought about fossil fuels.
No?
I stopped thinking about it in 1972.
That's when I started paying attention.
Right.
They can run fuel on anything.
Yeah.
There's plastics. There's things they don't want you to know.
That could be the point of them not wanting to trip. Because they don't want you to know the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That there's so much production that we don't even have to pay. I mean, anything. Gas will be so cheap.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of it.
Exactly.
Because the earth, I've always believed that the earth did produce oil anyway.
Yeah.
That's why, I'll tell you what made me believe it. The Beverly Hillbillies. Remember what happened when they drilled?
Yeah.
They hit something.
Yeah.
They didn't hit a pipe. What they hit was the ground, and all that black oil came out. Yeah, black gold. That black gold. You remember?
Oh, the first thing you know.
So ever since then, I always knew, and I was a kid, I always knew that it came from the earth. I never really
felt
believed
that way
it
too.
came from the skin of dinosaurs.
No, I barely ever thought of that.
I never believed it. It was never really taught to me. Yeah, when we were kids in the commercial, the dinosaur will come out, fossil fuels. I never really gave them a story.
They say the tar pits in Los Angeles are from dinosaurs.
The La Brea tar pits,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, and people buy. Well, I guess that's right.
Yeah,
I guess it's right. They
Well,
were
people buy
dinosaurs there
anything.
that died.
People buy anything. I mean, going back to the Charlie Kirk thing real quick, because that was big news.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen some of the comments, some of the disgraceful comments?
You were talking about that.
It's just, I think I heard Leo mention something about the guns. I'm going to tell you what did it was evil.
Yeah.
If you look at it, we spoke about it in the last podcast, was the God gene, the RNA is being eliminated from people, where they're getting so cold. That was a callous killing. That wasn't some crazy person. That was someone who had accuracy, the rifle, knew how to get away, did everything right. They still haven't caught the guy. Yeah, they found the rifle, but where's the guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He got away. Now, is he a leftist? Is he a righty? Is he from Israel? Where is he from? Nobody can know. Nobody can say because he hasn't been caught. We could make assumptions, but I can tell you this: that was calculated. It was planned. I was in the military.
I believe
that was a calculated operation. That was something that was thought of accurately, because remember, they don't have Secret Service, FBI security. They have their own little security and whatever police officers are going to patrol the area. But the point is that it's just, the killing was just evil because he was speaking the truth. Remember, every question, he always mentioned Christ. He was a devout Christian, a family man. He was an example of what an American should be. Yes, a Christian, right. Someone who loved God, loved country, loved his family. Come on.
It's a war on Christianity.
Yeah, there's a war on Christianity. And it could have been call it a transgender. Not that I believe it was a transgender person. I believe it was a professional hit.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know who paid that guy.
Yes. Follow the money.
That's what we got to follow, the money, because that guy didn't do it on his own. Yeah. And when they catch him, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to Oswald. He's going to get shot.
He might be dead anyway eventually.
That's what I'm saying.
Usually the thing is to kill the assassin.
Right.
He kills the target, kill the assassin.
You ain't going to say nothing. You're not going to say where the money came from.
People that shot Kennedy, a lot of them ended up dead. Yeah.
His target was what? His target was the young people. John always says that they're after our children.
Yeah. Yep.
Remember, college kids, they're still our kids.
Yes.
My son's in college. He's still my baby.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So what I'm saying is that they're after our children. They're after the minds of our kids with the colleges, with all this nonsense that they're teaching them with transgender education, and all this horrible stuff. The reason why they're doing it is because they really want to screw our kids up, and they're after our children. We're already old. They're gonna kill us with the shit they're throwing in the air with vaccines and fucking pills. You know what I mean? The young people still have life, and they're the future of this country. If we corrupt them, we will corrupt the world.
Yeah. Exactly, it's been happening. Yeah. You know, and
Charlie Kirk was fighting against that.
and he was doing a good job.
And he was making a difference. You see how big that crowd was?
Yes. And see, a lot of liberals are atheists, like hardcore. They don't believe in any religion.
Yeah.
You know, they just believe in temperance and exception of everybody's you know demented whatever way of living.
Yeah.
But they are atheists, and they don't believe in religion. They don't believe in Christ. They don't believe he was real, or was whatever people think he is the Son of God. That's part of their agenda as well.
100%. There's no doubt. I fell for that. I went away from God, like I told you. I strayed away. I mean, I went away big time, and we were brought up Catholic. We were, God. My mom wanted us to have a base to learn, Catholic, Catholicism and read the Bible. And I would have never really even looked at the Bible if it wasn't for that. My mom would have sent me to public school, and I would have been in a whole different direction.
There's nothing wrong with questioning, maybe.
No, of course not.
That's what the professors do at first. Then they make it even more like, oh, this is what really happened, and Jesus didn't exist. This religion followed the same pattern.
Exactly.
So on, and young kids, they listen to it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, even Christianity right now today is corrupt. Christianity.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Of course, they'll say all those Catholic priests.
This very town is full of churches, all money banks. You know what I mean? Because the Bible says that we are the church.
That's right.
God lives in us.
That's
See,
right.
We don't have to go into a building.
These professors will say that, look, all these priests and molested children, which is true. Mm-hmm. And then they go, well, that's bullshit. And I can understand why they start thinking that way and start turning with their young minds, because there is something bad shit that happened with, any religious figures as well. Because, the Catholic Church, is corrupt. I think it's more the Christian is being a Christian. The Catholic Church is
Let's talk about
the power
Jews.
base.
The Jews are worse.
Well, and they see that.
The Jews like little kids.
The woke kids are seeing that. I mean, they side with Palestine, and some see a genocide. So you can't blame them for thinking about that either. But Catholic and religion say you got to love the Jews. So it's such a clusterfuck of everybody, but backing one thing or another. Why can't back with Palestine, even though they know it? Some people might know it. It's a genocide, but I can't because the liberals love the Palestinians.
Yeah,
so, but I'm a Christian, and Jews, Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah.
Even but they can't look and see that they're worse than Hitler right now. They're doing the same. Netanyahu might as well have a Hitler mustache painted on his lip.
Yeah, right.
They're no different right now than what Hitler did to them.
Yeah.
No different. But people on Fox or stuff like that, like, no, or Megyn Kelly is, they gotta, the Palestinians are lying. Oh, there's no genocide, or they know it, but they don't want to look at it and just turn away.
Can I say something quickly on that note? I don't think so much what's happening with people is that they're misinterpreting a lot of the stuff of the Bible. The Bible says that all Israel shall be saved, right? So what I'm talking about is the country Israel, and we confuse Israel with the people the occupants of Israel. You understand? Everything in Israel in itself is a blessed country, okay? But the occupants aren't. They're corrupt. Yeah. They allow all pedophiles to move there. I mean, a lot of horrible things. You can't even have a gun there. They de-weaponized everybody. So it's not really a good country, but the country itself, Israel, is blessed. The land is blessed.
Yes. It goes back a long way.
Right. It goes back to the times of Abraham, and
Muslims lived there too in the Crusades. They took it over. It was their land, they said.
Right.
They had it for a while until the Christians took it back, and then the Jews had it for a bit, and then back to the Christians and back to the Muslims. It's been this way since time even before Christ.
Bruce, what do you got?
I'm just listening.
All right, I'm just double checking, just make sure. I'm just making sure you're still there with us.
I'm here.
Just if you had anything to put input on that one, so I just wanted to double check on that. We got Ishmael sitting over here. He didn't put anything on his list here, but I'm sure he'd like to. He didn't sign in yet. Okay, all right, just making sure. And then we got Nick Novak in the house. Thanks to Filthies, we got to give a shout out to Filthies for allowing us to be here.
Amazing place.
Allow us to be here and to be a part and to be able to do this once a month, and and give us an open forum to do it in. And we're streaming live, obviously, on YouTube and X and all the different platforms. So give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. I want to get Nick over here at some point and see if he wants to jump in here. Nick, I mean, he's here, so I gotta get him over here. There he is. Yeah, right here. You're gonna take over from me.
Say, I want to keep me your calculator. Can I keep that there, just in case? 6 million.
What's up, Eddie?
How are you doing? Good.
So we were talking about. What were you saying, Rich? About we were talking about Israel.
We went on from 9/11 to Charlie Kirk to petroleum, back to
Charlie Kirk, back to Israel.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Back to what could have happened.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, what are your thoughts on what happened to Charlie Kirk?
Oh,
Besides him getting shot, the obvious.
right. There's some heft to the air today for sure. It's tough to watch. So I think about it on two levels. On the first level of like the human level, obviously it's very disturbing that we have the tech to witness that so prevalently in real time, to watch it different angles. It's a tragedy, and if you have a soul, you're going to be sad about it. No matter what. I mean, the story is horrific. The visuals are horrific. The tribute videos to his family afterwards are horrific. It's just pulling at all your heartstrings. On the second level, because I'm the way I am, I just think about it's pulling the heartstrings for a reason. The tributes are beautiful, but they're being used to weaponize. The hateful rhetoric on both sides is there to serve a purpose, an agenda. Absolute tragedy. But in every tragedy lies an opportunity. And I always kind of reserve my my thoughts on it until I can kind of watch all the moving parts of it. You can see the conspiracy sides of the video where they're saying there's gentlemen doing hand signals right behind him. There's a tug of a cap, a tug of an ear, an arm signal. Do I believe that? I don't know, man. Weirder stuff has happened. But on that second level, I think that everything's done for a reason. And when the three-letter agencies who kind of have their finger in everything are done with you, I think they're done with you.
Do we know what the motive was?
You're never. I mean,
you got to first catch the person to find out the motive. But obviously, was hate, evil. I mean, my opinion on this whole thing, honestly, that it was just straight evil. I mean, why would you want to kill a man that all he's doing is talking about love? Really? I mean, he didn't like transgenderism. He didn't like men playing in women's sports. He didn't like people who put down the Bible. But that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't like and we should stand up for. And that's what happened. When you stand up and when you put a voice out there, to get shot down for it is taking away everybody's First Amendment right. Because how many people now are going to go out there and speak their truth without being concerned about being shot by some evil person?
That's what they want you to do. So that now you're afraid to speak. They want to stop people from speaking, especially people that, maybe on the right, they just want, they
want to silence.
Yes. I don't think they're going to silence much of anything. No. They might stop the open debate forum, but the podcasts are going to blow up. This is going to start such a wave on both sides that it's exactly what the elite need to push their agenda further down the road. This is going to incite both sides to violence. Threats, you've already seen it. Trump's already being threatened at the Yankees game tonight. He's going to Yankee Stadium on 9/11. It's just going to charge the rhetoric. Everything's going to get more wild from here, if you can believe that.
I can.
Yeah, it's just and it's just sad on all the levels.
It's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy that's going to have so much momentum.
Right now.
It's not.
That's
This is not
Yankee
going to go away. This is not. This is such a big, like everyone's saying, it's a turning point.
They want us divided so they can move in.
But it is, 100%. They want. I mean, martial law is always they want total control. So how do you get that? Or people murdering people throughout the country on the streets. National Guard hits, babango. National Guard doesn't want to. UN comes in. They have no allegiance to us.
Exactly. Oh, you hit that on.
We're Iraq 2001, right?
Yep. And some people don't know that. Some idiots are asleep and don't understand that.
Yeah.
While they argue over who has the rights, the trans rights, and this.
Well, that's it. We know if you're crazy enough, they say about us, to look on a different level, you know that it's always smoke and mirrors. And people have to die for it to push agendas down the road. I mean, there's always cannon fodder, and it's always in the spotlight. You got to ask yourself why all these assassinations through time have happened in public areas. It's all highly publicized. It's highly print through the centuries. When something happens, it's
That's how they push World War I.
Right,
with the
exactly.
assassination of
That was the reason why I
Ferdinand.
wanted to sit down, because we're talking about we have no inkling what the motivation of the shooter was. Why nearly 24 hours, over 24 hours later, can I still watch a man get murdered on
absolutely.
Facebook by 60 different angles?
100%.
And I said it's even if it's not curtailing to their specific view, the shooter themselves, the motivation now to just let me for the last 24 hours watch 150 times my guy, like one of my idols, one of the people who I heavily look up to, what was that? So you get lost in this. You can't watch a fight on Facebook anymore. You can't see anything without it getting flagged.
But this is being run over and over.
You have a YouTube account and you got stuff like for absolutely nothing because your last name, because of something that happened 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like when we look, what's stopping them now? I get it. Somebody news popping in a new video because there was how many ever thousands of people there. They're upload. Look what I saw. This is terrible. But honestly, like we can't stop that, but we can stop every other bit of disinformation, allegedly, every other conspiracy theory. But we can watch one of our conservative idols, and don't forget he's 31 years old. The young voices will always be silenced. They don't have a chance. You can stand there with security all you want, but the bullets fly, and there is no arguing with the bullet. That is as simple as that.
You're right, and the crowds he drew, I think, echoing. I think the crowds he drew were really. Is what put the target on.
Yeah.
Because that's
don't dare be effective.
Super threatening.
Don't dare be effective. It's wild. It's debilitating to me to think like I could ever want to go out and speak. That's why I didn't put my name down today. Like, just this guy is the largest young voice sponsor in the world, and he just got whacked in front of 100,000, 50,000, whatever it was.
And everyone, it's played in everyone's
everybody
timeline.
On the
social
world
media. Social media has been the worst for the last 40 hours. Social media has been the most toxic, worst place you could be, and it doesn't matter what forum, because you're just seeing his face over and over. I mean, think about anyone's face you've seen more in the last 10 years than Charlie Kirk in the last 30 hours.
Yeah,
he's on everyone's timeline, left, right, up, down. He's on everyone's timeline.
He was already there before he got.
He was very popular before, but now everyone, my local stuff on Facebook, my Instagram, my X accounts, and that's where I stopped because I'm kind of old. But all those accounts, it's just pure madness out there, and bewilderment, and people are mad. People are mad.
Yeah,
and that's going to lead to some real world consequences that I think is part of the plan, right?
Not even the game of attrition leads to consequences. We lost him. We're going to lose likely a large support of his movement because, like you're saying, it's like this is the reason why it's being broadcasted to stay down.
But I believe when one falls, 100 rise.
We will pick you out if you ever get good at it, though.
Absolutely, but
how many civil rights leaders were there in the 1960s? How many of them were murdered?
Yeah.
How many did you have to murder to nearly debilitate an entire group of people, an entire race that had been held down for 400 years in this country, or 300 something years in this country? Like you don't need to do much. It's never the silent majority.
The Nuremberg trials, we know this. It's never the silent majority. It's always going to be those active people. And it's crazy how many people, when I woke up this morning, you wouldn't expect them to talk about it. There must be something to talk about.
Right.
There has to be something.
That's what I mean. There's people that never enter into any political anything affiliation online, and they're talking about it, right? So this is a big this thing.
Is our turning point. Everybody's afraid.
This is
rich,
it.
poor,
Yeah, right.
left, right. If you have a voice, you better be afraid.
Yep.
That's for sure, because they're out there. I mean, even locally, we see prominent people in social media. I say prominent, just vocal people in social media getting death threats by city officials, pretty much. And it's pretty freaking crazy out there.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to faith in general, you're putting a target. Like, it's almost to the point where you don't want to talk about faith.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the thing, is to scare people into keeping that kind of rhetoric to themselves.
So this is something that all the apostles definitely understood, though. Christ did say, take up your crosses and follow me. That's, the Lord's Prayer doesn't say that he's going to make you safe in the forest. He says he's going to be with you in the forest, right? And again, it's just really weird. This isn't a political guy. This is a political commentator. This is not a politician who hurt, harmed, maimed, changed anybody's life, altered anybody's lives. This is not New Mexico where you have 500 people murdered because they're going to change the country for the better, and the mafia wants rid of them. This was a guy who started sitting at a table just like this and recording it just like this, probably in lesser quality. And he blew up, and he blew up, and he blew up by speaking his truth. And I say this, and I work in an institution where we don't discuss religion. You say God's not real in front of me, I say, that's not true. God's real. I have to hold my truth because I have morals and values. And I think that over the years, most of my friends are non-believers. Most of my very closest friends are non-believers, but they still look up to me. And that's what I need them to see, is what the walk with Christ and what my walk with the Adonai, the highest, has done for my life, who I've become. And I think that was his biggest argument. He went on podcasts and he talked with people. He talked with trans people. He talked with porn stars and all these stuff. And at the end of the day, he's like, I just want you to know Jesus loves you.
Right. It wasn't political for him. It was biblical.
At the end of the day, you're doing what you're going to do. I'm not going to change your mind. Just know Jesus loves you. One day you will come back, hopefully, and then you shall be redeemed. And that's the point.
And he was pretty factual in all he was less inflammatory and more factual in most of his debates.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that incites people the most, it seems, is, you can drop ad hominem attacks on people before what really riles them up are facts.
Yeah.
And, he had a lot of facts on his side.
They don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else.
So who do you I might have missed part of this conversation, but do we think what do we think's going to come of this? As far as the manhunt, you think we're going to get the right person?
And they never march out the right person, right? Like they're going to march someone out on SSRIs, and it's the same old story.
Or they kill him.
Yeah, and this is the same.
Make sure he's silenced.
I've long looked at how many people volunteer for any military. How many people say they would sacrifice their life? At least a few of them would absolutely do it if they think the purpose was right. So you can drag anybody out. It doesn't matter. There's 100,000 people in this country right now that would be put on an execution block so that guy can go free. That's an issue.
Yeah,
the one murderer versus the 100,000 people who would lay down for that brutal murderer is we saw this with the Mangione, right?
Yeah.
With the Mangione, he's like, yeah, dude, fuck some things up, but now this guy's kids are parentless.
The same thing happened to Jesus with Barabbas.
And it only made things
they showed Barabbas over Jesus.
Yep.
Guy who was, condemned, he was a hero to some people and a murderer to others.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta watch, and maybe if you are transgender, if you're homosexual, if you have any of these weird attachments to the LGBTQ ally group, and you think that he was vehement against you, it didn't give you a right, it didn't give you a purpose. Nobody has a right or purpose to murder somebody else, and that kind of comes down to the Barabbas story. And I'm not going to deify Charlie Kirk in any way, but you got the wrong guy. You got the guy who was better.
You wish everybody was saying condemn this, like even some tranny people.
Yeah,
or,
but, I'm just saying, like when we're advocating for the death of somebody who just
Jeffree Star gave him a shout out.
Okay, well, that's good.
Advocating for the death of somebody who just wants to have free discourse. Yes, he may look like a douche doing it. Yes, he may have sarcastic quips. The same as Ben Shapiro and all these other, and it goes on both sides. The people from the Young Turks.
They killed the last guy that was still thinking he can change their mind.
Right.
That was still willing to go change minds.
Yes.
They
Actually
killed
put the
last
hard
guy.
work in. And instead of
now
jumping
they're-
to politics
right.
and take your rights or your liberties or your freedoms or privileges away or whatever you want to do inside your own home away from you, he's going to say, hey, man, I think there's a better way to live. I think there's a better way for all of us. And I think that has to be the message. That's what we pray for. It's an anniversary of 9/11, and I don't openly speak about that at all. That's hence why I avoided this discussion, but I think like it's a great remembrance. It's 25 years the first time we learned.
24.
24 pardon.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
it's a bar.
yeah, well, that's what just a few years before that, those same buildings were bombed also. Well, back in the 80s, I believe.
No, it's 93. They were
93.
bombed, but they don't know who did.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's
They don't
the
They
crap
blamed it on a
that was-
sheik, but
the
it was
crap
us.
that was the 9/11. I can tell you, as a child, was the first time I ever looked at an old American person who didn't think they were the strongest person on the planet no more. They were all scared. I wrote a small novella about this in high school. It's like we were the first group of Americans that were not fearless in boundary.
Yeah, we did it to ourselves.
Why did we turn out? I'm talking, I was what, 10 years old?
Yeah,
8
you
years
were.
old?
I was 29.
Yeah,
All
it's a
of
whole
a sudden,
different level.
I knew right away
every
it was
old
different.
head, every old head is just hiding. Like, what's going on? It's like the other brown people. Oh, I'm from South Tampa, nearly all Dominican neighborhood. Like, what do you mean the other brown guy? We don't even know what Muslims are. And now all of a sudden, everybody's afraid of them. Now all of a sudden, everybody's afraid of the government. And not everybody, but like these things were significant. And I think, turning point. This is a huge turning point. When you have people like Meek Mill and all these rappers coming out first thing in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to say, hey, let's not escalate this. This is the war we are all afraid of. This is the next civil war. It's going to be us shooting each other's speakers.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen if people are just bright enough to know what the people that run this planet are trying to do.
You damn right. I'm not advocating for destroying the greatest thing that mankind's ever made.
I saw a black gentleman on TikTok today. He said that they killed the white Malcolm X yesterday.
See, but I'll give you.
I saw the
I'll-
same analogy with MLK.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I would say MLK because MLK was peaceful and Charlie Kirk was peaceful.
Well, Malcolm X was
said by any means, brother.
Well, he was, but he was killed by black people. Malcolm X.
He
was killed by his own
Elijah
people.
Muhammad. I know exactly who he was killed by. That's one of the conspiracies I do stand behind.
That's good because they, I think the CIA pushed it too. They worked together with Islam, Nation of Islam, and they both had reason to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So when your usefulness runs out, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And you might be a dead man.
So what's the other option? Just be useless?
Well, no,
I don't mean that like sarcastically.
They just eliminated him because I'm saying he had nowhere else to go. If you have enemies on both sides, you'll end up dead.
If you were to speak to a 21-year-old, young, insightful, doesn't matter what their political affiliation is, what do you say right now?
What about
Hopefully it won't
about
be you.
what?
First, find a 21-year-old that's insightful.
About I'm saying
I used
to exist.
Different world now.
About what? Talk to a 21 about what? Say anything?
You mean about the political climate?
So no, go speak out.
Well, some don't even know what they're talking about. They're 21 years old.
5 years
There's
ago.
a whole wave.
5 years ago, they told all of us to put masks on. Then they riled up a bunch of 21-year-olds to run out into the streets.
And God forbid you
And-
want
and
foreign
by-
out of the school libraries.
And by all means, there are photos on my Facebook of me going to the BLM advocacy moments in Fort Pierce as well as in Atlanta and in Gifford. So I wanted to be a part of the right movement, but like the whole ass backwards sidling was of just to stop them from speaking. Oh, they're speaking the way we want them to. Let them speak. Let them speak. They no longer have to be inside. They no longer have to be washing their hands every 10 minutes. They no longer have to stop licking doorknobs. Let them do whatever they want. They sound like what we've taught them. That's crazy.
Oh, they were burning down cities.
Pushing the narrative, pushing the agenda down the road.
And
all that leads to Charlie Kirk being shot yesterday. I mean, that's where it starts. The fuel of the fire gets going early.
Yep.
You don't see the fruits of the tree for quite a while.
Yes.
And the man being assassinated yesterday whatever the cause, whatever the reason, whoever's involved, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
That wasn't the kindling. The kindling was decades ago. That was an explosion.
Yeah.
And from that is going to be an even bigger explosion.
That's 2025 years old, man. They killed Christ for saying love, truth, and peace, and they've killed every other person that's mimicked him, mocked him, or anything like that in any positive
the
way.
Jews didn't like him proclaiming he was the son of God, so they're like, well, that he's got to go. He says he's the son of God. This guy's just a hippie. You know, he supposedly create some miracles. I don't see them. You know, and then, well, I mean, I'm just saying that they were responsible, and the Romans had to enforce it because they ran the region.
He was taking power away from
I do understand, but like even after the murder of Christ, you didn't have the Christian Judean wars until 300 years after. As a matter of fact, the Christians and the Jews after the killing of Christ, even talking about the biggest conspiracy that ever existed, was that Caesar killed Christ, and it's in the Bible.
How did Caesar kill Christ?
What you mean?
Caesar lived before Christ.
The Caesar of the time, the Roman consulate. They made a decision to kill Christ. It's called the Great Pan was dead. Look this up. The most important statement ever in history was when the Romans got to tell the rest of the world that they killed the one Jewish guy that kept bringing people back.
Well, King Herod could have let him go. He could have he wanted to let Christ go.
Yes.
He felt he was the no real threat.
Yeah,
but he said, go take him to the Romans. He could have told his fellow Jew consulates, hey, let him go.
We're not doing this.
We're not. Yeah, he's
doing
fine.
this.
I'm going to party.
Yeah.
Let him talk all he wants. Who cares?
Who cares? Exactly. Yeah.
So again,
Judas sold him out because Judas tried to force Jesus' hand. He was the smartest apostle. The other guys were dumb, but they had a great heart. But
how was he the smartest?
Well, not just because he was a tax collector. He understood Jesus the most.
Exactly.
But when he thought, I'm going to turn him over to the Jewish consulate, and he's going to do all these miracles in front of him to get out of the chains, to bust out of the chains, to fly, and I'll force his hand, and they'll be like, hey, he is the Son of God. Look what he just did. He melted the chains. And, well, we can't do this. Look what he just did. But Jesus wasn't going to do that. That's not what it's about. He was going to have to die for our sins.
Where would Judas get the impression? Because Christ was well aware of what a sacrifice was going to be.
So Christ knew he was going to still do it, but because he knew he was going to get betrayed.
I think this is extra biblical.
It's what?
I think it's extra biblical. This is not a part of the Bible.
Extra biblical. What's that mean?
It means it's using a biblical story and then adding details.
I'm just saying, Judas tried to force Jesus.
How is he adding any details?
He didn't even want the money. He thought he would redeem. Like, hey, this will get Jesus out of it. I don't want him to be killed. But he just didn't understand this had to be
Where
done.
are you getting that information from?
Well, I did go to the Catholic school for I think
but that's certainly not in the Bible.
12 years.
Christ was Judas was thrown the shekels and then dropped them. He was mentally ill.
He realized he made a mistake.
Yeah, he fucked up,
and he threw himself off a cliff.
Whatever, you know everything. So I don't care.
That's the thing. Is like you try to flip everything around. Yeah, you try to flip everything around. You're trying to say that he's quoting extra biblical. Like, what does that even mean? What does extra biblical mean? You're making up things, is what you're doing.
No, extra biblical means extra information added to the Bible.
No, he didn't add anything to the Bible. He didn't add anything extra. He was telling you the truth about Judas.
He said
and you flip it around as this extra biblical.
He said that Judas thought that Christ was going to break free.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would Judas have thought that?
Because he tried to pull a fast one on him, and then he turned on him. Just like what happened with Trump and Pence. You don't think that Trump didn't know that Pence was going to turn on him? You think he thought he was a good guy? He knew he was going to turn on him at the time when they didn't flip the election.
Yes.
It's the same story.
But you're assuming something that makes it extra biblical. I'm not assuming
anything. That's not extra. So that's extra biblical that I'm comparing Pence to Judas and turning his back on Trump.
Saying that you knew that Judas wanted Christ to break free. Judas sold him out.
Yeah, for what?
They could have fled. Christ in the Garden of Nineveh said not to flee.
Well, hello there, right? What did you do? He's trying to tell people that they're adding extra biblical Bible.
Yeah,
they've also taken out
It's a collection
The
over about
Gnostic
140
Bible is
years.
all the removed books.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So Gnosticism is open faith and interpretation, correct? So yes, the Ethiopian Bible included it and like 8 other books that we do not consider Christian canon. Book of Enoch hasn't been considered Christian canon ever. Neither has the Book of Judas or any of these other things. You have the Catholic canon, you have the Christian canon, but again, there are extra biblical things. There are things that have nothing to do, and the churches have deemed them so
probably good thing.
irrational that they shouldn't even discuss them.
Oh,
So like this is like
irrational.
You know, there was a time when nobody even knew what the Bible held in it. During those times, the Roman times, the taxpayers didn't even have an actual Bible to go
yeah,
by.
not until 600 years ago do we have a Bible, a mass-printed Bible. But again, so like this is like Jews that are Talmudic or Jews that are non-Talmudic.
You answer,
The vast
let's go back to
majority
my
of the-
question. Who took the Book of Enoch out of the Bible?
Nobody took it out. When the collection of the Bible happened, it was not included.
How do you know that?
Because there is no old copy of the Bible with the
That's
book.
extra biblical.
No.
Well, how do you know that? You don't know that for sure.
Well, I don't,
How do you know
but
that?
I do know that church fathers never included it.
Okay. I beg to differ.
We have church fathers from about 130 AD to the 400s, never once speaking about it, openly discussing the Trinity, right? So the Trinity is really hard to show in the Bible. So they found that as we have prayed and as we have really understood all this, that the Trinity is true. They found that about 100 years after Christ died. This is why the
How do
Trinity,
you know that for sure?
because we have writing.
Okay.
We have the written people. Now, none of these people ever mentioned books of Enoch. They never mentioned a book of Enoch, any usage of book of Enoch
If you're going to
for
take
their
out, if you're
decisions.
going
I'm
to
not
take out
saying
the
it's
Book
not.
of Enoch, you're going to take out any mention of the Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying that nothing was taken out. The Bible is a collection of stories the church found together. There were other writings about Christ's life. You think there were only 4 gospels?
No.
Right. So there was.
Why are those the only 4 that they read on Sundays?
Because when they
tell me that.
when they
No. Answer his question.
They find the
I'm
account.
trying to-
No, you weren't. Ask his question.
This is just like anybody creating a portfolio. You find the facts that you like, and you make your portfolio out of the facts that you like.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what they did. And they didn't include the Book of Enoch because it said a bunch of nonsense.
Okay.
How did it say a bunch of nonsense?
I'm not speaking for myself now. I'm speaking about the church fathers. They went through and they sifted through
Do you
information.
think
They
it's a bunch of
compiled the
nonsense?
Bible.
Do you think it's a bunch of
Never read it.
nonsense?
I don't.
You don't know about the Nephilim
the
and
people who
Wait,
existed
no,
with Christ.
stop.
I know about the Nephilim.
I know, but go back.
The Nephilim are in the Old
You
Testament.
jump around too much. Let's go back.
Huh?
So you never read the Book of Enoch,
Yeah.
but you know that it was not. But you know that it wasn't taken out of the. It was taken out of the Bible. You don't know if
There
it
is
did.
no taking things out of the Bible.
How do you know that?
Bible was
How do you
compiled.
How do you know that?
There wasn't the Bible that exists as the Word now is a collection of stories. Before that, you have the Old Testament, you have the Tanakh and the expanded Tanakh, right? So there's only 5 parts of the Bible, right? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
First law, second law, and the other important stories, right? We're recounting people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only actual Bible. That is Christ. Okay, Christ spoke about that law and only that law.
Yeah.
He never discussed any of the laws that came after that. He might have referenced back to Proverbs a few times, a couple times Hosea and stuff like that, but that's neither here nor there. Again, when Christ came, people were writing stories about them. And when the great, I can't remember what the day of Pentecost came, and everybody started speaking in tongues and went out to the waves, the church fathers that stayed started compiling stories of Christ, right? That is the 4 books. The only 4 books we have is the only 4 they ratified with what we saw in life.
All right.
That is all of your early church fathers. Now, none of them mention the Book of Enoch. Could it be something? I don't know.
Why don't?
Why are not all of Paul's letters in there?
I don't know. Let me
Paul
ask.
had hundreds of letters. Why did James have to come back and tell Paul that, hey, you haven't been telling the Romans they can sin without remorse, have you? Because of the book Romans. Romans were all Baptists get their legalism from,
Okay.
right? Like,
I know, but going back to the Book of Enoch, let's go back to that for a second.
Yeah.
So you say you haven't read it, so you don't. So why haven't you even looked into it?
I don't deem
because
every.
it's not on the program.
Yeah.
That's true.
What's crazy about one of my best friends Ish here?
Yeah.
Not only
I just love Nick's humor.
Here's what's crazy.
It's not on the program.
He doesn't accept media and happenstance is real. He believes a little bit deeper than he lets on in conspiracy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Bible, he's fucking line, hook, and sinker, baby.
Yeah.
He believes the Bible is the Bible.
Yeah.
Fox News is lying, but the Bible is the Bible, which, let's be honest, is the first Fox News, right?
It's the only communication from our Lord that I can hold in my hand.
I totally understand.
I agree with that.
I'm just
I
explaining.
totally agree. I
his
totally
take.
I don't even take that the Bible's infallible, but what I am saying is that the early Christian church fathers
I'm
said,
surprised. I'm
Well, then
surprised.
why the fuck does it say the firmament? You don't believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
the firmament is something
That's a
we
good
have
question.
given a designation to.
No.
The Bible.
No, come
your
on,
Bible.
come
It's
on.
in your Bible.
Yeah,
The Bible that you choose
when I
says
read it, it says, yeah.
flat earth,
No, it doesn't.
firmament,
It says-
water above,
It says
water
the firmament
below.
above.
Separate the water.
I just read
It's
that
almost like on
this
the.
morning.
It's almost
I literally
like,
just read
why-
that this
Why are
morning.
you back in Genesis 2?
Yeah, I know, but I've literally just.
Oh, shit,
It's not a
he knows the
coincidence.
chapter.
It's the
Run,
end of the
boys.
year, brother.
I know, but
It's the Bible. It's the most important book that has ever been transcended down to man, not written by man.
And it says,
So for us to think that anything's been removed is to say that the hand of God is not a cursory movement. You can add whatever you want.
no, yeah,
Look
I
at the,
agree.
look at
I
the
agree
curse
with
upon the
that.
people who added upon Christ's last
But I
testament.
think that what we're
He said,
dealing with really.
Nehemiah,
No.
no more
I
shall
think
come after.
I think what we're dealing with, though, if you go back to the book of Enoch and to the giants and the Nephilim spirits, that's what we're dealing with on this earth.
fallen angels.
So
Fallen angels. No. Stop.
All right.
Stop. You would just jump in every time.
Anyway, the thing with my best friend Dish is,
But the fallen angel, go back. But listen, just listen, though, Nish. I love that you come on here and you do this. This is exactly why we want this to do it, is to do these things. But sometimes you just don't listen. You just want to jump over.
What do you want to tell me about the Nephilim?
I don't want to tell you anything. See, that's where I'm not. Look at this. Look at it this way. I'm not the professor, and you're not the student. Okay. You kind of debate like you're the student and I'm the professor. And you're trying to show the professor that he is wrong in any way possible. That's what your goal is.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm not trying. What's that?
100%.
Yeah,
I'm dissenting from your opinions.
Yes,
Yes.
and so but when
This is my dissent.
But when I brought up the whole, the book of Enoch, and you're telling me about the Nephilim, I can't tell you shit. I can't tell you nothing. I'm just learning about it myself. I'm 57 years old. So I'm going back and going, wait a minute, like something ain't right here. This book of Enoch, they took it out. There's some Nephilim spirits are still on the planet. I'm starting to see them. There's evil everywhere.
Okay.
What's going on here? So I can explain to you that way.
Nephilim and Seraphim are in the Tanakh.
Uh-huh.
They're only mentioned twice in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Genesis 2, you're saying that you're reading.
I've read it this morning.
If you're
read it this
if you're
morning,
at
my man.
Genesis 2, you're going to see them in about 20 chapters.
Okay.
You're going to see them again in Levitical law.
All right.
Again, so 684 years after Christ's life, there's a man that comes around and starts telling people that he is the newest form of God, right? Or not the newest voice of God, right? This Muhammad. He added stuff too. Why don't we consider that Christian theology? He also quoted about the seraphim. He also talked about the jinn that were spoken about in the Old Testament. He also, because what he was a warlord and a businessman.
Yeah.
So he heard story after story. He sent it out. What I am telling you is the reason why it's not in the Bible, right, is because it was removed. It was not removed. It was never considered biblical. Right? So they would say this is non-biblical or extra-biblical.
But the question I have, and this is where I went because I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I want to get Joanne to get her opinion too, is that there's something, if they're taking something out, if there's something being hidden, it's the forbidden book is what they call it.
Hidden?
Why? Exactly. That's my question.
What information in the book of Enoch, which you could buy at any bookstore, what's hidden there? Why wasn't it included? What does it speak about Christ that the early church fathers disagreed with? Because what the book of Enoch does describe is non-Trinitarianism.
Yeah.
So there are Christians that are non-Trinitarians.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I'm non-Trinitarian.
Yeah, so that's why you haven't read it.
I believe the Son submits to the
That's
Father
why you haven't
because
read it.
Christ
But
said,
that's why you
what
haven't.
Matthew 25,
I know,
he
but
said,
that's why
you're
you
going to
probably
go
have-
and do better things.
That's why you haven't probably read it.
Yeah, I don't.
Because you're just dismissing it.
No.
Well,
I'm not.
Up front.
Dismiss. You're dismissing it. No.
Every church father that has
go
ever
back.
existed.
All right, now I'm the professor.
Yes.
Right? Quiet.
Yes, I dismiss it because I stand on the shoulders of giants. For 2,000 years, people have
Is that a
dismissed
Kurt Vonnegut quote? What
No,
is
not quite.
that? What was that?
He doesn't
Men
like
and
any
daughter
part of
once.
this.
You
That's my
stand
favorite
on the
author.
shoulder of giant. All right. But see, you
We stand on the shoulders of giant?
I know, but you dismissed it though. That's the thing. That's the point I'm trying to get, is that you dismissed it. So like you're just like, I'm just going to dismiss it because it doesn't fit into my lane.
So-
See, I didn't do that because again, I'm 57 years old, and so I've never listened.
So have you ever read the statement?
See how he just jumped? So.
I'm just saving time out of it.
No, you're not saving any
Have you
time.
ever,
We
have
got-
you
we
ever
got
read The State of the Republic or any of Karl Marx's teachings?
No, I have not.
Right,
no.
because you
Yeah.
deem them silly. Because as soon as it say-
No. Time out again. Time out. I didn't deem them silly because I didn't read them. I just didn't read them. I didn't deem them silly.
Well, as soon as somebody
But-
says
but-
I shouldn't have private property, I deem them silly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but to be honest with you, and this gentleman, my brother, he's sitting here. He was one that helped me wake up to a lot of things, that these conspiracies that we're talking about right now. But I didn't dismiss what he would tell me. So if he told me something about child trafficking and adrenochrome or whatever, I didn't dismiss it. I didn't go, I might not have looked into it right away. I might have been like, oh, well, that's kind of crazy. Let me write that down. I'll look into that eventually.
John, in the long run, all this is 2,000 years ago. None of us were there to document it the way it was documented. You have to trust what they've also documented it. You know, Jesus was not nailed to a cross. It was a log. They didn't do crucifixions with the classic cross until about 500
Just a
years
pipe,
later.
yep.
You know, it was a pipe. It was like a log pipe, and his hands were like this. How do we know if even Jesus was even? He might have been black. We know he's probably dark, being Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to believe if he was, if he wasn't black.
He wasn't
white,
Malibu Jesus.
If he wasn't English Jesus,
English Jesus.
then that scares white people.
Just as an odd side note, have you ever
It's
seen
true.
the early Chinese drawings of Jesus?
No.
So when Christianity hit China, they started painting like crazy, and he is full blown Asian guy. It is hilarious.
That's funny.
They take the full claim that the Middle East is technically Asia. He's Asian. This is what he looks like.
Well, how do you know if you actually see Jesus, just like he can speak in all tongues? He doesn't look like everybody because we are made in the image of God.
There you go.
Sure.
So I might be black looking at Jesus and he looks black. You might be Asian.
That was in
looking at
Genesis.
Jesus,
I read that this
and
morning.
he looks Asian to you.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah,
we are
he
an
didn't
image
come
of
for
God.
somebody who looked
So
like him. Yeah, no.
when we
had to
see
be a
him,
human.
we'll see an image of
Yeah, for
ourselves.
the sacrifice to count, he had to be a human. It's going to look like something.
Yeah.
And
that's good. That's a
And
good
that's
point.
probably why it would be so difficult for us to recognize Jesus when he does arrive.
I'll quote the guy himself, Mark 16:17-18. You shall know me and my people when we walk.
Nice.
They shall step upon the heads of serpents and not feel any pain.
Huh.
Right? They shall drink of the poison and not feel any fear.
It doesn't matter what he
You shall-
looked like;
Yeah.
it's what he represented.
Amen. And it's love. It's the fulfillment of law.
There you go.
We were blessed enough to be put here and get a chance and shot at this shit. So let's run it.
I mean, the Quran talks about Jesus maybe even more than the Bible does. According, to the writings that, and they believed he was a son of God himself. But then when Muhammad came years later, they were fighting over each other.
Yeah.
For whatever, the land of Israel, and for, who was better.
So like Islam, it's like Ibn something was like the ninth regent or imam of Islam. We have like the historical proof of where this man started a besiegement war to remove any other copies or verses from the Quran than what he himself deemed to be.
So you have proof that Muhammad was a living being.
Yes, he is the most.
What is
documented man.
he's documented, but you have proof he was a real person.
What could constitute proof of a living person?
Well, we have proof of Jesus.
Every bit of proof that we have of Jesus, we have of Muhammad. We know for sure Muhammad existed.
So
He was a living
What's
king.
the proof that we have of Muhammad?
He besieged like a billion people.
Well, we have proof of Jesus'
So did Genghis
cloth.
Khan.
We have proof
Yeah,
of
we know.
Jesus'
We don't
tomb.
debate whether Genghis Khan exists. Yes.
Well, Muhammad
has a tomb in the middle of where they all pray to. They go to Mecca every year to see Muhammad's tomb. He is in there. Like he is still dead and in there. He did not rise and go anywhere.
and they opened the tomb to see him in there.
No, they don't desecrate Muhammad's grave. They're Muslims. They believe that would be no. Again, to say that there's a rock wall that with a hole in it is Jesus' tomb.
Well, we moved Jesus's tomb. We moved the rock to see if he was there.
The rock was moved. I don't know if we moved it, but yes, I'm with what you're saying.
I don't think
Muhammad was a king.
Well, I know everybody thinks
the story
Muhammad
of
is the
Jesus.
person he is.
So
but
we
Muhammad,
have an
the
unbroken
people
line
that
of
wrote about
Muhammad's.
Muhammad were like 300 years later, 500 years later.
No,
They
no.
weren't even in
That
the
is not
time.
true. Muhammad wrote the Quran with his buddy. I always forget his name, and they call it the Calamity of Tuesday, right? So most people don't know this. In the Quran, actually, Muhammad says something very interesting. So he said up to the Lord, "Is Adonai, if you are to kill me for telling the truth, take me by my aorta." His last words in the Quran is my aorta. He was
wrote
poisoned.
that?
He wrote that and was killed like that.
So the Quran was written when he was alive.
He had scribes next to him. He was written in his life. His brother, his younger brother, Ali, so Muhammad Ali, his younger brother was the first imam of his church, which is where Shiite and Sunnis come from. We have no question he is the most physically recorded human in history until modern time, where I can show you you're sitting against it for me. He is he is more.
Wasn't the Christ story repeated just like Mithra?
No,
the Mithra story was very similar to
and
Christ.
so this is an issue that people always look at, like Mithraism and its it's like its beginnings predated Christianity. Sure, but the belief that a son came back or that the son was the son of God didn't come out until after they had met Christians. More importantly, they had spoken about it 1800 years before in the Tanakh, that there would be a man coming from the living word to stand as flesh, to atone. The contract was always there in the Old Testament. The Jews just didn't understand it.
Well, all right, we're going to wrap it up there real quick.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Again, I want a big shout out for Charlie Kirk, everything he's done in my life, hopefully for all of us. Hopefully it'll continue to do so. What a tragic loss we took yesterday. There's a lot of violence that we need to stop. And it really starts with just doing what the fuck he said, whether it be Christ or any one of the good people. Just be kind, love people, think for yourself, and be a good human being. It's not that fucking hard.
Bingo. No, there you go, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ish. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for the conversation.
Yep. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Ish. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. All right. So, what are we at? An hour and what? What time is it? Oh, perfect. All right. So we're just going to go into a fun subject. We're going to go into a fun subject that we have on the list. Joanne, you might like this one. Not many people look into this, but it's pretty obvious. But it's Paul McCartney, and Paul, I don't know if you've heard about Paul McCartney and what might have happened to him before, and that it's not really the Paul McCartney that you're seeing today. Have you ever heard of that, Joanne?
No, I haven't.
All right, good. This is going to be good. So we got Steve in the mix on this one. We got Rich on the mix on this one, and then Joanne's going to be on the mix on this one, and I'm probably going to pull in somebody else to sit in as well. But go ahead, Rich. Start with that. Start with it a little bit of where it started with Paul McCartney, what supposedly happened to him, and how they switched him out.
The real Paul McCartney died in 1966.
1966.
The guy from 62 to 66 was Paul McCartney. The guy from 67 on today, it's still the guy that says Paul McCartney is not that guy. He is a replacement. He is a double who had talent, musical talent. He was an actor. He's a writer, songwriter, and he was picked. And whatever reasons, MI5 and MI6 decided to keep it going to where they just said, you're just going to replace this guy. And I looked at it for a long time, and it's not the same guy. He's 3 inches taller. He has green eyes. They did some work on him. He has musical talent, like the other. He's not left-handed.
I was going to say that wasn't he. He was. First of all, his original role was he was a decoy, right? He was a stand-in.
Yes, they had him for all the Beatles. There was decoys.
All the Beatles had a stand-in. They all had a decoy.
He already had a band called Billy and the Pepper Pots.
So the guy's name was Billy
Campbell Shears.
Billy Campbell Shears. So he was the decoy for Paul McCartney, and then Paul McCartney passed. So how did Paul McCartney supposedly die?
In a car accident, somewhere around November of '66. He died, in a car crash.
Okay.
And instead of him, the English government talked about the mass hysteria. If the girls would go nuts if he died, and they would break up, and all this. You could go ahead and how they felt, why they did it. And there's, the other Beatles knew, of course, this guy is a replacement. They were all agreed that he's going to do it. They knew who he was already. He wrote songs for them.
Yeah. And didn't he play the guitar the opposite direction, too?
He's right-handed.
So he was right-handed.
Learn left-handed.
So he had to learn how to play left-handed.
And the Paul you see from today till now still always looks what he's doing constantly. Whereas the other Paul is fluid.
He didn't look.
This is just one of many things. I mean, just completely fluid and didn't have to look. He was left-handed.
Yeah.
They all can play other instruments just like this guy.
Eddie.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
And my gentleman to the left will tell you about how they tried to tell you in songs and albums that after this all happened.
Oh, cool. All right. So go.
Consent.
So go. Steve, take the floor. Yeah, I want to hear about this.
If you are familiar with the lyrics, "A Day in the Life," right? He blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood and stared. It's all there.
Huh.
It's all there.
And Sgt. Pepper album had
and the song was the band was a cash cow, and the main and one of the main guys gets killed. So what are you going to do? Disband? Bring in a new guy? It's never going to work. It's never going to float.
Yeah.
Bring in a double and just cross your fingers.
Well, their original drummer isn't the original drummer now.
No, Peter Best was the first. I mean, people do get replaced in bands. And it's told and noticed, and they're different looking men. But this was just a whole swap to where it's like he never died. And it's all over the Sgt. Pepper album.
I want to hear about that. The Sgt. Pepper album. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you know. I've just said there's all these clues, and not just the plain old, reverse the record and says, Paul's dead, and this him.
Yeah, this is old stuff.
Yes, and it was there. It was talked about in '69 when it was gaining traction with people of that generation. Now, I wasn't around then; I wasn't born, but people that love the Beatles and some really did believe that happened. And some say, well, that's where the conspiracy started, and that's why it just took a life of its own. But he never died. But there's I go with the whole physical. I mean, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's
the other
a
guy's
difference.
3 inches taller.
Yeah, I looked at that.
His longer neck.
Yeah.
It wasn't just age. He's 5 years older than all the
Face is
Beatles.
rounder.
He's the real Paul's was rounder.
Yeah.
And he's 5'11". Lennon's 5'11". So is George Harrison. Ringo, of course, was short. As you see time, after 67, you see that Paul is 3 inches, 2.5 inches taller than all those two.
Yeah. Not to mention that him and Lennon didn't get along after that fact. So.
Well, did we check their shoes? They wore platform shoes back then too.
Well, they didn't really wear platform shoes. And if they wore them, they'd still be the same difference in height as well.
It's funny you mentioned shoes. There's an album cover where he's not wearing
shoes. That's right. That's the one where he's walking across
to make it look
that's
shorter.
Right. Yeah.
That was also to be saying that he was dead.
Yeah.
That John was dressed in he was dressed in white because he was the priest. Ringo in black because he was the pallbearer.
Yeah.
Paul's dead. He's wearing corduroys.
Yeah.
And George was the gravedigger wearing jeans and like a flannel. I mean, these are those clues that someone say, well, I
it's
hear
not a coincidence.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can say whatever you want about that, but there's a difference. You have to look. You have to do research. There's differences in their ears, and he had some work done to make it look like he more looked like him.
Yeah.
And then after 67, all of a sudden the Beatles started getting shaggier hair.
Yeah.
Growing mustache. It disguises it more. We're more hippie now. We're this and that. Whereas
the truth in plain sight.
Yeah, because in the early days they were always dressed
clean
up.
cut,
They were clean
They were
cut, like
tight.
church boys.
There's videos you can see them talk side by. There's one, I swear, it's only a year's difference between Paul that died, was 66, and then you see Billy, which that was his name. I mean, it's totally different. It's just amazing. And on these albums, they switch tracks to make the other Paul sound like the old Paul. Yeah. They keep it going to make it work. And this guy, I'm not saying this Paul has talent. I like this Paul McCartney. A lot of people don't. I like some of his music with the Wings.
No, he's definitely great.
Stuff, but the height difference is a lot, and it's not just.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, and he has green eyes, like a gray. The Billy has a green hazel, where the other one was brown. Eyes can change. I mean, I had brown when I was young. I had blue now. Go figure. It happened through time as a kid. But there's I mean, I could go on and on, but you have to kind of do your own
You have to do
research.
your own. You really have to go to. I've done it. I did.
It's there.
I did. It's
Did you look
there.
into that?
I looked into it. Yeah. I looked into it.
No, you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
try to go down that rabbit hole.
And there's videos online on YouTube where he's on like Johnny, not Johnny Carr, like David Letterman's show, and they're kind of joking around. He's going, well, I'm not really Paul.
he says it like
he makes fun of it.
he makes fun of it. He go, well, I know. It seems like he's going to say no, it's a hoax. He's not saying that.
Yeah.
He says, well, that guy,
that's
this
not
is
me.
him.
Yeah, this
He's
is him.
referring. I'm
him.
that guy.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
He wrote a book about it. There's
Did he write
always
a book about it?
it's about like he writes about like his memoirs that he tries to clue to you that he's Billy Campbell Shears.
Yeah.
He still wants to. This was his life, and it changed once.
Like he's still trying to hold
Yes.
on to his
They all-
original identity.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's interviews with Ringo. There's one where George Harrison. They were doing a tribute, and it was like in 1988. And he was talking about John, and Ringo was there, and Julian Lennon was there. Paul wasn't there, but he talked about how they missed John. He goes, "We missed John, and we missed Paul too."
Yeah.
Referring, let that the Paul we knew died. He was part of our, the Beatles. And their manager died suddenly, not even a year after.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, his name was Epstein, believe it or not. But he was.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Brian.
He wasn't a pedophile, right?
No. He was, of course, he would know best.
Yeah.
I mean, how he died for sure. You don't know.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. There's a lot of clues in Sergeant Pepper, and
That I've looked into.
I
Yeah.
love that album.
Yeah.
too.
Well, they go back and listen to it now.
Great album. I know.
Their physical
I
difference
wonder about
He says
is
they're
there.
now introducing what's the part?
Billy Shears. Introduce him to Billy Shears.
He says the name in the song.
The one and only Billy Shears.
He's one and only Billy Shears, but he's telling you who he really is. It's crazy. Yeah.
I know it's new and it's hard. And some people don't even know about this. Some think it was just some little hoax that went on. And then there's others like myself that studied it or really, and especially if you're a real Beatle fan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments. You look at the comments on videos I just told you are tremendously, full with people that say the same thing. And what I'm saying. And,
Did you ever see where they all have the crosses upside down?
No,
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
No. Yeah.
Those
When
are all
did
the
that
subliminal.
They're lined up and they all have crucifix upside down.
Oh, I know. I've seen
Yeah.
a picture of them with a bunch of doll parts, baby doll parts.
I haven't seen that.
I've seen that where they're sitting in a bunch of baby doll parts. It's kind of
I've
weird.
seen that.
Kind of
Yeah, I've
creepy
seen
looking.
that.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. Yeah, as I've seen that, and then you start to question it, like why are they
Artists
taking a picture like that?
Artists do creepy things.
Yeah,
you know?
and
Well,
that's
that
what you
goes
think,
into-
but then you realize it's not really. It's
It's a message.
symbol. It's a message.
The
symbolism.
animation of the Yellow Submarine, they're like, "Where's Pool?
Yeah.
Where's Pool?" They're always like, "Pool ain't here no more." It's like it's a
Yeah,
little bit.
they had an accent in some of those songs, and I just made up my own words. I couldn't figure out what the hell they were saying. So I just made up my own words.
You didn't have the closed caption on them. Yeah, that's funny.
Billy is Scottish. He's from Scottish nobility, whereas the real Paul was from Liverpool, and of course the other guy had to try to mimic a Liverpool accent. Liverpool, but that's not his true accent.
Yeah.
It's Scottish. He has to, but he'll mimic it. It works. What they did worked. If it didn't, it would have been exposed.
Exactly.
But it's worked all these years, and this guy has made many money. That's why Michael Jackson took the rights away from the Beatles' music, because Michael Jackson knew you're not. First of all, you're not Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
You're an imposter, and I believe Michael Jackson knew that.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson bought the rights to their music back in the early '80s, and Paul was pissed, and that's why they weren't buddies anymore after they did that video and they were singing that song.
Oh yeah, Ebony and Ivory. Say. That's
Ebony
it.
Ivory. Paul died, and that's why they did it. That's one of the reasons. I mean, there's many reasons why they must have did it. It was the machine.
Look, they had liberals
Money.
back then too, running on the suicide
Right.
shit.
That's one of the reasons. You know, remember, I'm before their time, and I mean, I wasn't a big fan of their music. It's not like I lived and breathed the Beatles. I do
love
like
their music.
I do
man.
like Paul McCartney. This guy. Yeah, but remember, he's also. You can tell he's older too than this Paul. When you do the comparison, he's 5 years older. He's 5 years older than all of them, except maybe 4 Ringo. So you can see his age is just a little bit more than them. And to me, it's clear that he was born in 37, where the real Paul was born in 42. So there's your 5 years difference, because he looked like he aged that much from 66 to 67. So these are all that this is all my research. You don't have to believe it. You have to look it up yourself. Even this lad Avril Lavigne, you can look up after you see Paul first and see how it could be done.
Are we back?
And they did it with her. For whatever reason, they did it because the music moguls make their money off that.
Did we lose it?
We're good now. We're back. Yeah.
They're the ones that make the true money, the people behind the music. Just like Elvis, Colonel Parker, and all those guys still made lots of money after Elvis died.
Yeah.
Some say he faked his death. I'm not sure if I'm on that. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know. Just legend died. That's all I know is, man.
Yeah.
He was a legend. I was still a little girl.
Well,
but I remember him because he
So do you
was
guys think
a
the music
legend.
industry is satanic?
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
this would prove
I
it
do
too
too.
if they did this.
They're part of the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry is abusive and satanic.
Was that the pentagram? Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Okay, because it might not even be his name. That's not his real name. Ringo Starr's real name is
Richard Stark.
Yep, very good. Richard Stark.
Come on.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember. They changed their name. I mean, John Denver's real name is John Dushendorf.
Yeah.
It's
It's his stage name, John Denver.
Yeah, it's too German. You have to have something that's
A lot of those actors do that too.
Some keep the real name, like the real Paul. That was his real name. It just sounded good, And there's other ones that have to change their name because it's too epic. Hal Linden from Barney Miller's real name was like Lipschitz. So it was too Jewish.
There's a few girls I would call that too.
All right, we're gonna wrap this section up. We're gonna wrap this section up here. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. It was good stuff. CJ from the Spark Free Press is gonna jump in there with Richie, and then I got you introduce yourself too.
I got Bill.
Bill's a patriot in our town. He's a listener to the podcast.
Yes, sir.
And then you got your.
Hey, how are you?
Nice hat.
Thank you.
I thought you guys met before. Have you guys
Yeah,
met?
we have.
Okay. Yeah. He listens to the show. And then we're gonna have your girl. What's her name?
You have
She's
a girl?
gonna try. She was just right here, but then she sees I'm not gonna make it. Can they see it?
Yeah, go ahead. Put the headphones on. Go ahead and start.
Oh, okay. Yo, what's going on?
You wanted to talk about Charlie Kirk?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to
Bush
talk
family.
briefly about
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk, a brief fan, and thank you for joining me on the podcast today. So, yeah, we're the Spark Free Press. I don't know if you can see us right now,
Awesome.
and I'm so glad to work with our community, local independent journalists, IRC Media, and Binford Chronicles, and a great veteran of our service like you. We're thanks and happy to work with you. So I just wanted to say I was really upset about Charlie Kirk. I posted a video, a picture of me and him when we had 2 years ago, and just in the comments section, I got like 40 to 50 nasty comments about him and how he's about gun rights and what he deserves. And I'm getting it from people I don't even know. And they're saying the nasty, he was a racist, he was a Nazi. So I just don't get, even if my worst enemy, something like that happened to them, I wouldn't celebrate his death.
We wouldn't celebrate anybody's death. That's not how we are. We're Christians. We believe in the open dialogue, the difference of opinion. We believe we can agree to disagree, but life should never be taken over something so simple as a conversation.
Yeah, no, it's sad to see the mentality of people has gone downhill. It's like almost almost evil, and it's dark. It's a very dark place to be in when you're this guy's family is there. You're looking at this guy's family. Could see these comments made by everybody online. These liberals that have just dehumanized this guy. And I know you were telling us that you've heard. You knew Charlie Kirk before.
No, I had a friend who my son and his son played hockey, and where I lived up north, he lived in Lamont, where he grew up, and it was the next town over from where I lived. So, but he knew him since he was 17, and been friends ever since. Talked to him 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden we had what happened yesterday, and it's heartbreaking. When you look at watching Charlie Kirk for so many years and just seeing how he interacts and how just awesome of a human being he is, and just he wants to talk and have that debate and get people to have discord and just have conversation, and it's just heartbreaking. You see the love that he has for his family, his wife, when he talks, and to see that hate, it's just it doesn't matter if they're at the incident or the scene, something like that. They don't care, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and there's some guy, was that guy jumping up and down, celebrating right when he got shot, and that's almost their automatic thought is to celebrate this man's death. They got what they want. Charlie's not a human; he's a Nazi. This man deserves better than that. He's a real American hero. He's done more for this country than pretty much anybody in my lifetime I've seen. So,
well, he's done a lot for your group, the Gen Z group, bringing you guys up to date, up to speed, really having that dialogue with you guys. Especially, it was important for him to go to the campuses because there were a lot of Gen Z on that campus that had conservative views, but they were shut up because the liberals yell and scream and get in your face and they intimidate you. But when he went to those campuses, he opened up the topic of discussion. So now people were able to come out and say, yeah, let's get up there and have the conversation.
Open their minds.
Yes, open your mind, open your heart, open your soul. And he sat there and listened, and he was sharp. 31 years old. This guy could read a book and he could reiterate the information in a articulate way to get you to understand it like you do when you read the book. Amazingly intelligent, read the Bible. He was always advancing his knowledge and how to debate this in a way that you're not tearing down the other person, in a way that you're respecting that person's views, but offering them to challenge themselves with the information he was delivering to them. And that was a threat. Why? Because we have the wokeism. We have the Marxism, and then we have Islamism. And he is the threat when he is grabbing the young generation that's our future and opening their eyes. And that's a threat to those people because they want to devour the United States. They want to devour the Western civilization and the values that we have.
It looks like they are because they got him. They shot the man for what he believed in, for his services.
But they didn't get him because he lives in us. Yes. He lives in you. He lives in him. He lives in Eddie. We are going to carry on his legacy.
I don't think they know what they started.
What they did is that they martyred him. They made him into a martyr because, if you think about it, here's this man, like you were mentioning before, I said the same thing. They're after our young people. Remember, if they get our young people,
they have the future.
They have the future. We're old. They're killing us with pharmaceuticals or whatever they're blowing in the air. They're killing us slowly. But the young people, if you get to them, we always said in the show that one thing that they're after are the young people. And Charlie Kirk was making a difference. He was making an impact to young people. My son who's in college loves Charlie Kirk because he heard him and it made a difference to him. Because what they're teaching these kids in college is crazy.
It's garbage.
It's garbage what they're teaching these kids, and he's trying to make a difference. And what was he doing? He was sharing love. He was sharing his beliefs, his faith. He was telling people it's okay to be different. Yes, he was against transgender. I'm against transgender. I'm against men playing in women's sports. A lot of us are.
And he was speaking the truth.
And
he was speaking
that's right.
Speaking
you're not
the truth
really
in
against.
fact.
Yeah, You're right, but you're not really against transgender.
No.
You're against them influencing children. We
Listen,
don't care if transgender
I
is
don't
not
care
going
what
to
you
do
do.
anything.
Matter of
There's no
fact, I
such
don't
thing.
care what you do.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you're right. There is no such thing because
Yeah,
it's
a mental
you're either
illness.
gay or straight. It's simple.
Yeah.
You're either
Mental
homosexual or you're not. So the whole point is that they changed that. Now I'm a personal trainer. I was training this homosexual, and I asked him, you know how I got the embody?
Yeah.
You know how it says male, female?
Uh-huh.
I left it alone. I asked him, what do you want to put? He says, I'm a man.
Yeah.
And this guy is gay. He says, and at that point, we were able to speak. And he told me, I don't identify as a woman. All this that you hear in the news, we don't want it.
Yeah,
Our
gays
community,
against groomers.
our community does not want
it's
that
the worst
kind of
thing for the gay
nonsense.
community to happen since AIDS. It's the worst thing is this LGBTQ woke nonsense because they've hijacked. What they do is they hijack one group like that. They pretend to put them on a pedestal, and everybody else in the world is just left out. You know,
Right.
so it's just picking one group. It didn't matter what group it was before. It might have been blacks or, you know, lesbians was one. It was gays, and then now it's trans. So it doesn't really matter. The point is that they're just picking one group. They're putting them above everybody else. They're a protected class, and they have more rights than the other people. That way, now the other people are fighting against that for their own rights, to get their own rights back. It's just insane because they're setting everybody up for attacking each other so that we don't see what's really the problem, the government.
Well, what they
Right.
actually did is the gay rights groups actually got everything they wanted. So those activists and those non-profit businesses had no way to earn any more money because the gay rights were getting everything they wanted. So then they went and created this whole transgender story. Oh, let's look. And then with the Democrats coming in and trying to take over, and you've got all these Islamic representatives in office now, which are changing the culture. They're changing it in New Jersey. They're changing it in
You're so
Philadelphia.
right. You're so right. And
And
me and
that's
him were
what they
just talking
did.
about
That was
We were just
the
talking
new
about that.
agenda.
And you know, I almost don't blame the Muslims for trying to take over our government and our country, because I mean anybody would. We're the richest country. We have the
No,
most
they're not
resources.
taking us over for
And
that
they're not.
reason.
But the thing is, it's the politicians who allowed them in and gave them rights, gave them citizenships, gave them jobs. It's the politicians that are Congress is responsible for this.
No, they're not. The people are. We're voting
Yeah, I
them
mean,
in.
absolutely.
technically
The
we are.
people are voting them in, CJ.
But that goes
But
back
are they?
to
Is
the
there
culture.
fraudulent elections going on?
You know, the culture is what
Yeah.
is, you know, putting it in that direction. Like talking about with the schools, you know, these kids have this ideology, and when we talk about, you know, the gay issues and that, it's almost like a trend now. It's something that is trendy to do because it's so ingrained in the way that they just try to put it to the forefront where, you know, hey, what's wrong with this? You should be this, you know, and putting it in young adult or young children's books and shows and things of that nature. You know, it's got to stop.
So CJ, we've got to wrap it up soon. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got about 2 minutes to wrap
Thanks
it up.
for having
CJ,
me.
what have you got to say?
What have I got to say in closing? I'm just so glad to be here. I'm glad that we're able to speak about this, Rod, to have freedom of speech, just like Charlie Kirk had until he got shot.
Yep.
And now he's shot and he has no speech at all.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, yeah.
All right, guys, don't forget to like, share, repost, share the show, please.
Share the show.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thanks, CJ,
with
for being
Spark.
here with Spark Free
No,
Press.
man, anytime, I respect you guys. I love you
Eddie.
guys.
Yeah, man. We got Eddie from TGI Now podcast.
That's right.
And then we got Joanne from Binford Chronicles. And then myself, John from TGI Now podcast. Rondell didn't show up. And then we got IRC Media, the umbrella with In Your Connection. So thanks for joining in. Please come share the show. Come next time. We appreciate everybody that came and had to leave. And then we're going to hopefully get the audio a little bit better so people can hear while they're here too. So we're going to try to figure something out so they can hear the show instead of listening to it on their phones, because it's, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose.
That's okay. At least
Rest
they
in
get
peace,
it.
Charlie. Rest in peace,
Yep,
Charlie.
absolutely.
We love you.
Amen.
Well, we got your back. MAGA, don't be scared, but do be prepared and maybe wear body armor to events.
No, we don't need
This is,
No, we just.
yeah, no, there's some messaging going out that we
Yeah.
really need to be kind of prepared for
It's all going to work out. Don't push.
No,
the
we
fear.
just keep pushing our love,
Yeah,
our faith,
that's right.
and our belief.
That's right.
Well, I'll close with this: that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but that will power, love, and sound mind.
That's
Amen.
right.
God bless, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
It should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is tremendous.
So there's a little adventure left down at the bottom of the way.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
And Admiral, would you say that
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened.
Houston, Tranquility Base here.